Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another PossibilityStorm.com puzzle. So we're getting into the middle of Rivals of Ixalan season over at PossibilityStorm.com, so if you're interested in getting involved, make sure to check out their Patreon. As far as today, we got a sweet little uncommon puzzle, so like usual, I will give you some rules, go over the puzzle real quick, give you a chance to pause the video, see if you can come up with a line to take down the game. So the big rule of Possibility Storm is you gotta win this very turn. There's no passing, hoping your opponent whiffs on their draw step, hoping you draw something awesome. Gotta win this exact turn with only the information given. So the cards in your library aren't relevant, for example. As far as this puzzle in specific, opponent's got a bunch of blockers, we got a bunch of attackers, and a Huatli, and some cards in hand, and some mana. Opponent's only at 2 life, but some of their blockers are hexproof, which makes them hard to deal with. So can you figure out a way to push through those final 2 points of damage and win the game this very turn? So I'm going to give you a chance to pause the video, see if you can come up with a solution to this week's PossibilityStorm.com puzzle, and then I will jump back in and give you the answer. So how did you do? Did you figure out the solution to this week's PossibilityStorm.com puzzle? So let's break this down. On our opponent's side of the battlefield, they have a total of 4 blockers protecting their 2 life. Maverick Thopterist on the ground, Overgrown Armasaur also on the ground. Carnage Tyrant is hexproof on the ground, so we can't really deal with that. And then Soul of the Rapids gives our opponent a flying hexproof blocker. So those are the creatures we're dealing with. On our side of the battlefield, we got 2 1/1 flying Thopters. We got a Rishkar Pima Renegade with a counter on it, a Crafty Cutpurse also with a counter on it. So remember, Rishkar lets us tap our creatures that have counters on them for green mana, basically make them into like Llanowar Elves. So even though we only got 6 lands to make mana, we technically have 2 mana from Rishkar and Crafty Cutpurse if we decide to tap them. Of course, if we decide to tap them, then we're not attacking with them. So we gotta weigh those consequences out and try to figure out what's right to do with Rishkar. Are we attacking or are we adding mana? We also have a Huatli Radiant Champion with 9 loyalty, which means every option with Huatli is available to us. We can plus it for more loyalty, but that doesn't really help us win the game this turn. We can negative to pump one of our creatures equal to the number of creatures we control. So for example, we can make one of our Thopters into a 5/5, or we can ultimate, then we draw cards when creatures enter the battlefield. In our hand, we have a few different options. Spontaneous Artist lets us give a creature haste. It's a 3/3, it costs 4 mana. Greenbelt Rampager, gonna bounce itself the first time since we don't have any energy at the moment until it sticks around. Captivating Crew lets us steal an opposing creature, and then Runaground lets us bounce an artifact or a creature to the top of our opponent's library for 4 mana. So let's start with the easiest calculation here. We have 4 attackers. We need to get through 2 damage. So we have in our hand basically 1 removal spell. We can use Captivating Crew to steal a creature, but to steal a creature with Captivating Crew, we will have to tap both Rishkar Pima Renegade and Crafty Cutpurse for mana. We'd spend all of our lands and both of our creatures adding mana to pay 4 for Captivating Crew, 4 to steal a creature. The problem is we can't steal the best creatures. Carnage Tyrant Hexproof can't steal it. We can't steal the Flyer because it has Hexproof. So we're stuck stealing a ground creature, so we don't actually come very far ahead if we're doing that. We're tapping 2 of our creatures to steal one of our opponent's creatures. So we're not actually gaining anything in that exchange. Our opponent's still going to have the same amount of blockers relative to the number of attacking creatures we have, because we're going down to put our opponent down 1 and go up 1. So it's kind of a wash. The other option is just to run aground a creature. So we can be like, all right, Overgrown Armasaur, get out of there. Opponent's down to 3 blockers, but that doesn't really help us. We attack with everything. Our opponent blocks our 2 ground creatures. They block a Thopter. If we use Huatli to pump one of our tokens, the flying Thopter tokens, then our opponent just chumps the one that is pumped and takes the one from the non-pumped Thopter token. So I don't feel like removal can get there. We kind of have the same problem with Spontaneous Artist. We can play Spontaneous Artist, we can give it haste, we can attack with everything. That gives us 1 more attacker, but our opponent then still has 4 blockers. Same situation. Even if we pump on one of the flyers, our opponent chumps our 3 ground creatures, chumps the big flyer, takes 1 damage. That doesn't get us to winning the game either. So how can we possibly squeeze through this 2 damage? advantage. And I think what we need to do here is we need to start with our Planeswalker, Huatli Radiant Champion. So step 1, we ultimate Huatli to get an emblem where whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, we get to draw a card. Then step 2 is we need to run aground our Rishkar Pima Renegade using our Rishkar mana. So we tap Rishkar, we tap Crafty Cutpurse for 2 mana, tap, let's say, Botanical Sanctum, Inspiring Vantage for 2 more mana, run aground our own Rishkar to put it on top of our deck. Then our next step, we tap one of our Botanical Sanctums to cast our Greenbelt Rampager, and we don't get to keep our Greenbelt Rampager. All it's doing is triggering our Huatli emblem to draw us a card. So we know what we're drawing. We're drawing the Rishkar that we just put on top of our deck. Then we use our last 3 mana to cast Rishkar, and we put the counters from Rishkar on our Thopter, making both of our Thopters a 2/2, which means we have 2/2/2 flying attackers. Our opponent has 1 hexproof flying blocker, so no matter which Thopter they block, our opponent is going to take lethal from one of the Thopters and steal the game. So it's a really cool trick there. It's a really unique way of going about it. You don't normally think about putting your own creatures on top of your deck as a way to win the game, but in this PossibilityStorm.com puzzle, that is exactly what we need to do. So what do you think? Did you come up with this correct solution to this week's PossibilityStorm.com puzzle, putting Rishkar on top of our deck after emblemming Huatli and playing Greenbelt Rampager to draw it and then pump our Thopters? Is that what you came up with? Did you come up with another possible way to win the game? Because sometimes there's multiple avenues, so let me know if you had another solution as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.